My name is Andy. I'm a move abroad mentor. I have 5 kids. My husband and I moved out of America in 2019. Today, I want to talk about the 3 best decisions that we made before we moved abroad. A different day, I'll do the 3 worst decisions. But the things that really helped us for our move abroad were, first of all, I became a virtual assistant. I had been home with my kids for 13 years. I have 5 kids, so there really wasn't any point in trying to pay for childcare for 5 kids. That just doesn't even make sense. So, anyway, several of our kids have disabilities. We have a real high needs family. And when I was thinking about us moving abroad, at the time, we thought that we were going to be moving to Ireland with my husband's work. I had heard of being a VA, and I always thought like, oh, I was undiagnosed at the time, but I have ADHD, so when I heard about being a virtual assistant, I imagined that I needed to be like a super organized, methodical person. I just thought like this career doesn't make sense for me as a human. I'm a very artsy, writing, like interpersonal, communicatory kind of person. Like I'm a people person. And so when I heard about being a VA, I was like, oh, that's cool, but that's like absolutely not a good fit for me. But actually, because I have 5 kids and because I was really excellent at getting stuff done, being a VA was a really, really easy transition for me. Um, I I had spent my mothering life like figuring things out, figuring out how to get supports for my kids with disabilities, figuring out how to use travel credit cards to maximize our spending so that we could leverage our spending for traveling. Um, I had figured out just like a lot of complicated things that moms have to figure out. And I was also good at like juggling a lot of tasks, right? With 5 kids, it's just like whack-a-mole all the time. I realized, oh, maybe I have the skills that are needed for this, even though I'm not super, super organized as a person. I can be if I need to be, because that's like every mother, right? We had been through 3 adoption processes where you have to have very specific ink colors and you have to have very specific types of paper and you have to keep it all organized. So I had like lots of experience doing things where I had to be organized, even though I wouldn't consider myself like a super like type A orderly person. And so I took a course. I will link the course that I took because it was really amazing. The fact that you can take a course for like a couple $1,000s or less and you can learn skills that then make you money. Basically, I don't know that I would have, if I had had that opportunity as a university student, I don't know that I would have chosen university, but everybody was choosing university at the time. It was like there wasn't another choice. It was expected. But it is really interesting that you can get an education in being a virtual assistant for a really low price in comparison to like university. And you can go have a successful career. And I did. I pivoted away from virtual assistant work. I dabble in it still, But it was a really, really great career for me for 5 years as we launched abroad. And so that was one of the best things that I did because it was contract work and I could do that anywhere. So that's number one. Number two, helpful things that we did to move abroad. Well, let me back up really quickly. So, for number one, the point of that is not that you have to become a virtual assistant, but the point of that is you need a remote income. So, whether you happen to have a remote income from things like real estate or things like that, I think a lot of people are not in that situation. So, the next best thing would be that you're working on a truly remote job. So that means that you need a job that's going to pay you no matter where you are in the world. And a lot of jobs are the kind that only pay you in the States. I'm talking to Americans, so that's why we're focusing on this. So there are remote jobs, but you have to be within the boundaries of the US in order to officially be doing that job remotely. Companies know where you are, even with stuff like VPNs and things like that. So having a job that's truly remote, which you can work for American companies, maybe you're a contractor, you have your own company that pays you and they pay your company. So, like, it's complicated to a degree, but it's doable. So, that's how we did it for me as a VA. I established a company in Florida with my husband because he was doing contract work as well. And our company got paid, and then our company paid us. The route that we took was an S Corp. And, you know, there's a million things to research with like taxes and blah, blah, blah. But that was a really good decision for us. Getting remote work, truly remote work that doesn't have to be done within the confines of America. Then the second thing that we did, and this is only going to apply if you have children, is we established our home address in a state. For us, it was where my parents live. So we established our permanent residency in Florida because that's where my parents were. And the reason that we did that was because it's where my parents were, but also it was very helpful because Florida Virtual School is free education for Florida residents. A lot of people who attend Florida Virtual School have sort of strange schedules or maybe travel. There's a lot of travelers, you know, there's van lifers, there's people who move around national parks, there's people who travel the world. And the teachers in Florida Virtual are, they're really great. They keep in touch with you by phone, by Zoom. Basically, like the kids do the work online. They're able to sign in and do their work, and then they have check-in calls with their teachers. So that meant that I didn't have to homeschool, which was awesome because I had definitely done homeschooling. I can't imagine trying to do all five at the same time, and especially with the needs that my kids had. So this was a really great way that we could keep their education consistent as we moved from place to place until we were residents within Portugal. And then once we were residents, eventually we put them into local schools. But having the consistency when we moved around the world of education not changing and then also not having to have it be on my shoulders and not have it be like a bunch of curriculum that we're like carrying around, that was really, really helpful. So being enrolled in an online school that you can do remotely with your kids is super helpful. The last one I want to share with you is actually travel credit cards. The reason that this is helpful Basically, we had already delved into the world of travel cards and travel points, like hotel branded cards or airline branded cards or something that's more flexible, like flexible points cards that you can send to different airlines or different hotels. I have a primer on the travel cards that we've used in the description. But basically, we started that before we even thought about moving abroad. I just got really into points, super nerdy about it over the last 11 years. We have gotten more than $70,000 worth of free travel from those points. So maybe we paid a fraction of the cost that it would be to take a flight because we use points and then you pay like the taxes on the flight or things like that. So it's not completely free, but you're putting your own money in and then you're getting like outsized value. And the reason that's been very helpful for us living abroad is it's given us access to opportunities we wouldn't have had otherwise. So regularly we use our hotel nights at really cool hotels in Lisbon, or when we're traveling back to the States, we often fly through Dublin. And so we use points on hotels there, or we use points to fly from Dublin to Minneapolis or Dublin to Orlando. We use our points that we rack up from our daily spending of a huge family. I mean, even just our grocery budget out of control. Anyway, it was really helpful to get those, figure out how to work them before we moved abroad. And then a big part of it is that these kind of cards don't have foreign transaction fees. So like many cards in America, if they're not travel branded cards, if you take them to another country, you get dinged for spending in a different currency. And with travel cards, almost all of them, at least all the ones that I have, don't have foreign transaction fees. And so this is just one way to make it easier for yourself. Eventually, you're going to have a bank account in a different country, but maybe not if you're moving around. So having cards that you know are going to work, and I would say at least 3, because if you get yourself in the situation where your card isn't working and you're international, it's a real pain. Having like 3 different cards, and I give you my top recommendations in the credit card points primer that I made, but having that when you're all over the world is very, very helpful. The other thing that's been unexpected is we ended up living in a place where we are able to walk to the grocery and to most things that we need, and we take buses otherwise, which means that we only need a car very occasionally. So instead of buying a car here in Portugal, we decided to just keep renting because we were finding really good rental prices. And then we don't have to pay for insurance because our credit cards, our travel credit cards, many of them cover rental car insurance. So it means we're driving nicer cars. It means that we are not paying for a monthly car cost. We're not paying for insurance. We're not paying for maintenance. I mean, the list goes on. It also means we walk more, which is healthier. So that was an unexpected great part of having travel credit cards. A lot of them give you like one free global entry, like reimbursement. So it's very nice having global entry for our family when we're coming back to America because it means you get in faster, you're not standing in super long lines. It's really great. So those are 3 things that I would say have been completely essential for us as a family moving abroad, and things that I'm really glad that we did. I was going to turn it off, and then I thought, should I say something? See you next time. See you next time, where I'll talk about 3 things that we did that were not helpful.